If I quit this season, I still be the greatest.
Angel Mound's Invitational up this weekend for the UT Martin cross country team as they wrap up the 2023 regular season before the OVC championships. Joining us here on the program, head coach of the UT Martin cross country team, Jolyta Henderson, as the weather's starting to get a little bit colder for your team, coach, and you head into this weekend going to Indiana and probably not going to be the hottest of temperatures for this race.
Not at all. Not at all. Whew. I'm excited, though.
And going to be the final regular season event. What are some of the expectations here? Just getting prepared to go into this one, perform obviously to your best, but also get geared up for that OVC championship. So what are you and Coach Tony's expectations for your team?
So you know what's kind of crazy when it comes to running? Like other sports, you want people to do their best all the time. But because running is up and down, you kind of want them to do good, but not too good. Because you want them to do really well at conference. So that's the expectation is for them to run better than Louisville, but they shouldn't peak. So, yeah.
Right, and any challenges here in Evansville? Obviously, the weather is going to get a whole lot colder. And how do you handle that weather? Is it just something that comes with practicing once the temperature starts to drop here in Martin? Is there some type of program that you have them doing to get ready to face those temperatures? And what are some of the adjustments that you make whenever this weather starts to change?
Honestly, it's just something that we just have to deal with. Being an outside sport, everybody's different. Everybody's body temperature is different. So we just make sure, like, hey, do you need gloves? Do you need ear warmers? Like, what do you need for you to be okay? Going to Indiana before we go to Moorhead is actually pretty good. I feel like it's good preparation for a conference because I'm not going to lie, it's going to be cold in Moorhead.
Yeah. When you talk about that, one of the keys is to know your body, and as a runner, really pay attention to what's working for you. What do you tell your athletes, and how do you get them fine-tuned, I guess, with themselves to figure out what works for them?
So that's the thing. That's why we focus on so much when we run. We talked about before how they don't run with music. Like, you have to know what your body's doing. You have to know how it feels like on your good run days. What did it feel like? And we type those in on our Strava and stuff like that. Like, okay, I felt great because of this. Okay, so what did you eat? Like, what did you do? It's kind of remembering everything that you did. So, okay, we had some guys, actually ran into some guys the other day at U.S. Donuts, and I was like, what y'all doing? And it's like, just got done with 16 miles. I'm like, okay, cool. Like, that's good. Yeah. I'm like, so how'd you feel? And they were like, it was good running weather. This is about 11 o'clock, so they probably started, a little bit at like 8 or something like that, So it's probably cold, but not too cold. And they still had on shirts, so they didn't get too hot. So I'm like, okay. And just for them, running that long, they have to know, like, did I feel good doing this? Was it too cold? Like, okay, do I need more materials? Do I need more clothing and stuff like that?
What are some quirky things you've run into with runners, things that they think they need to do better? Are there superstitions like in other sports?
Yes.
Yeah. What are they?
Girls, it's like, okay, we have to wear a certain top, or some of our girls our whole girls team wears ribbons. So the ribbon thing, the braid thing, like everybody has to have some type of braid. I remember I had to have a braid in my hair, and I had to wear a ribbon. They're like, Coach Lita, you're going to be here. Like, you got to wear. I'm like, okay. Whatever's going to make you run better. Our
just
guys.
Roll along.
Yeah,
I'm like,
whatever's going to make you run better, I don't care.
First place, and hey, I don't care.
Yeah. No. Guys, not so much. They do have to have their warm-up in a particular way. Like, it has to be done in a particular way.
Yeah.
And if it's not, then it's kind of like, what are we doing? Yeah.
What about, you probably put more miles on your shoes in 1 week than Davis and I do in a couple of months.
Very true.
Yes.
What's the lifespan of a pair of shoes for a runner?
Okay, first off, I'm not going to lie. We put more miles on a shoe than people do on their cars.
Yeah, yeah.
So, new shoes, you roughly less than 1,000 miles.
I had no idea. That's something new. Yeah. So 1,000 miles. So I probably don't have 1,000 miles on my shoes.
Oh, absolutely
not.
No.
Like, you probably have shoes that you wear like for like years.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
And they do not. They probably have
they
500 miles maybe.
Yes.
Yeah.
We get they actually need new shoes probably like every 3 months.
Oh my goodness.
Really?
Wow.
So what starts wear? I guess it depends on the runner, but different parts wear.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's how we also know who's running correctly and who isn't.
Oh.
To see, like, because if you have wear and tear on the inside of your foot, that means you run on the inside, which is not good.
Yeah.
And if you have wear and tear on the outside, that means you run on the outside. If you have a lot on your toes, that means you run on your toes too much. Heels, So
and your shoes are more expensive. than
Yeah,
the
they
average
are.
shoe.
Yeah, they are. They're
In your sport, and I'm not talking about your
Yeah, no.
athletes particularly, but what's the most expensive pair of shoes you've seen?
most expensive pair of shoes they were $240, and I bought them this year.
Okay.
What brand?
They're Tempo shoes. Was it Saucony Super Shoe? Yeah.
But they're good for 1,000 miles.
Yeah. Well, no, because different shoes are for different things. Like the shoes that you wear in your long runs aren't the same shoes that you will wear in like a tempo workout. So.
Have the technology in the shoes come along even since you've been running? Are they
Yes.
better? Yeah.
Yes, a lot. A lot of shoes now have that carbon fiber plate, and we really like those. They're just hard to get.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're very expensive.
Okay.
And I want to, because we talked about it right before we came on, that there's at one point in time where you all ran in the snow.
Yes.
So when you go into that and you talked about what the girls have to wear, what the guys have to wear, when you prep for that, obviously you don't want too much clothing to
Yeah.
wear you down, but you also want some to keep your body temperature right. So what's the planning in that?
So they have to be fully clothed for warm up, and we try to get them as hot as possible during the warm up. Like even if they're sweating, you still need your hoodie on. Like you have to keep that core body temperature raised up, and as long as we have like fingertips, make sure they have on good socks and then gloves. That's pretty much good enough because those are the first things, like your extremities. Make sure that those stay warm.
I'll tell you what, I'm going to use these tips for an early morning run
Yeah,
that
yeah.
I'm planning on doing,
You
but
run it in the
probably
morning?
will not do.
You run it in the morning?
No, absolutely not.
If I quit this season, I still be the greatest.
The Skyhawk Sports Talk Podcast is brought to you by Weekly Ford Nissan.
The UT Martin golf team red hot right now, and now joining the program excellence, first time since the first episode, I believe. Excuse me, Coach Swafford back on the program as UT Martin golf team. Really strong start to the year, Coach, and it's been pretty good to say the least to get 3 straight OVC Golfer of the Week awards. That's a program first, and then 3 straight top 5 finishes. You get the win at the Grover Page Classic. Hey, this has been quite the beginning to this season.
Yeah, you couldn't ask for a better start. That first tournament at Dalhousie, I knew it was going to be a tough test, and that's one reason we signed up for it. We got to play some really good teams, but it exposed what we needed to go to work on. It exposed our weaknesses, and we've just kind of been smooth sailing since. It was good. The next event was at home, playing down at Jackson Country Club, of course, we're familiar with, obviously, and then just trying to take that momentum on the road, and they've been able to do so. I'm super proud of how they've been playing.
I'm amazed at your maturity saying that what we needed early was to expose our weaknesses. Like that was a good thing.
It's, our season is split into 2. A lot of people don't know that. So we got 1 tournament left coming up in a few weeks, but then we're off until the springtime. So if we don't do anything, in my opinion, to expose our weaknesses early in the fall, we're doing ourselves a disservice almost. There's a lot of different ways to look at it, but 2 years ago we went to UTSA's tournament down in San Antonio, and it was the same thing. Super tough test, a lot of good teams. We didn't play great, but we played solid the rest of the fall. We just had some things to work on we could take with us. So if I can start out early, that first event on a tough course or a tough field, I'm going to.
And we're going to go to Dax now, who has been on fire. Won the individual title at SIUE, 2 OVC Golfer of the Week awards. What has improved in his game?
There's multiple things. I think the biggest thing is just mentally, he's in such a good spot. He works extremely hard. He wants to be on the PGA Tour. He's driven. He's got the length to do that. He's long off the tee. He's solid just all around. But mentally, he's in a great spot. And I think more than anything, again, when you're out there, 36 hole days, those are long days, 11-hour days. You got to be able to handle it mentally. And he's doing just an excellent job at that right now.
And how do you build up a golfer just mentally and get him sound to the point where, again, it's short-term memory. If I make a mistake, okay, make that correction, get ready for the next shot. Is that something that you all have to say, okay, just continue to be mentally strong, or is that something that will just pop up at some point in time?
It definitely doesn't pop up. We got to work on it. We got to work on it even when it's going well. We've had a lot of discussions about that, how to handle it, the short-term memory, as you said. We work on it all the time. Again, a lot of people just don't understand unless you've been to a tournament. I'm taking 5 or 6 to a tournament. Shotgun start. Everybody's spread out. There's no timeouts. There's no halftime. So once we start, it's off and running. So I might be with somebody, and somebody might be able to play 4 or 5 holes, if not more, before I can get to them. So how we handle things mentally when something doesn't go our way, we get a bad break, we get a bad bounce. We talk about it all the time.
I was going to say the thing that I'm amazed with in golf is that the time you're actually swinging the club and hitting the ball in a 4-hour round is probably less than 15 minutes. I don't know. I'm sure you have the stats.
It's way less. We did a study on that, and some other people have as well. But let's just say it's a 4-hour round.
Yeah.
The time we're actually hitting the ball is like a 1 minute 58 seconds.
Really?
Like total. Obviously it depends on how many strokes.
Yeah.
But I mean it's 2 minutes or less.
So the other 3 hours and 58 minutes, you're thinking. That's a lot of thinking.
Yes.
What you're thinking totally impacts that minute 58 or 2 minutes that you're actually hitting the ball.
Absolutely. Again, we work on it so much. Different ways, different people take things different ways. But that's been a focal point this fall. Each meeting, after each tournament, I have them write down what they did well and why, what we can do better and how. And the and why and the and how part are obviously the two key elements to that. But I think it's paid off. We've been able to have some good one-on-one discussions, and it's, again, each player's different, so you don't know exactly what's going on through their mind. But when they get to talking about that, boy, it's pretty fun to watch. So, anyway, it's been beneficial for us.
And the thing of it, you go to a driving range, you could hit as many balls on a driving range in a couple of minutes as you would in an entire round.
Sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And it's much different scenario than standing and waiting.
Yes. And again, you're out there, you're playing with either 2 other people, 3 other people, so you got that going on. The weather could be a factor. The momentum in the round, if it's up or down for you. So, again.
Are you impacted by the people you're playing with?
In my opinion, you are. I think a lot of times you want people that play well. You can feed off that energy. If somebody's not having their best day, you're kind of having to watch that. You don't know how they're going to handle it. If they don't handle it well, does their attitude affect you? You hope not, but, when you're in the same group for 4 hours a day or for playing 36 holes and it's double that, it's hard not to be affected. So I do think it plays a factor. It's a small one, but I do think it's a factor.
And throughout these past couple of events, what has stuck out to you for the team as a whole? I mean, we talk about the top 5 finishes, Dak's playing well, but as a team, what stuck out to you?
Our energy is really good. We have we created a standard, if you will, that we want ourselves to kind of live by on and off the course, just something to help us focus each tournament. One of those standards is celebrate others' success. And I think our energy is really good because of that. Golf is so individual. You can only control your score. Nobody else can control what Dax does and vice versa. So, but if we can celebrate each other, again, that energy we created, we're pulling for one another. I mean, at the end of the day, the team leaderboard, I got to count the best 4 out of 5 scores each time.
Right.
So it is a team aspect. You just got to manage it well. But I would say that. I think our energy is great. They push one another. Obviously, they're competing against one another. It's just the honest truth, but they're pulling for each other at the same time. And as a result, I think it's made a difference.
And another week off, and then to Kennesaw State's final event for the fall?
Final event
for the fall. So with that final event, what's going on between now and then to get ready for that trip?
Just kind of keeping things a little bit the same that we've done. We're going to have some practices, obviously, probably a qualifier as well. We're going to get on the course as much as we can. We don't want to change too much from our day-to-day, but, I mean, again, they're on fall break this week. They'll be back. So starting Wednesday, we'll pick up our practices again and just try to keep the same thing. We're going to have some mental discussions. We're going to go out and do some things that are intense, that are new for us this year that we've done at practice, and then we'll get ready to leave next week.
If I quit this season, I still be the greatest.
The Skyhawk Sports Talk Podcast is brought to you by Weekly Ford Nissan.
UT Martin Volleyball back at home this weekend. Going to take on Western Illinois. Now joining the program, head coach of the volleyball team, Jaclynn Wilson. Coach, thanks so much for joining us. Got the win last week against Tennessee State and then faced that very tough SEMO team this past weekend. Just overall thoughts there on the week.
Yeah, happy to get the win at home against TSU. And knew going into the weekend SEMO was going to be one of the toughest teams in the conference we came across. And I think they're playing really, really well right now. They kind of hit a lower point early in the season, and I think they're playing their best volleyball. So I knew it was going to be a tough weekend. Wasn't overly happy with Friday's performance, and we still lost in 3 on Saturday, but I did feel like we played much better volleyball. We're much more competitive. I'm going to be honest. I'm kind of happy to have SEMO behind us, EIU behind us, and see what we can make the rest of this way out.
And last year, of course, winning the regular season title, but then Tennessee State, they were 5 or 6 in the standings, and then went and won the whole tournament. So, I mean, is there obviously you want to win the OVC regular season championship, get that number 1 seed and host, because that's so big to have the home court advantage at UT Martin. But I mean, how do you kind of keep, I guess, you all's confidence up and saying, hey, if we get hot at the right time, I mean, we can punch our ticket to the NCAA tournament. We just have to be able to find that rhythm.
For sure, and you want to win everything. I mean,
Right.
anytime you can get a championship, you want to win it. And so it's been a little bit of a tougher year for us and a big learning experience. But we know we haven't peaked. We know we haven't hit our stride yet. We're really, really kind of focused on one day at a time. We're trying to kind of check our emotions a little bit and be a lot more task focused, because we are a pretty emotionally driven team. And I think right now we're just really focusing on putting in the work, being task driven, and just one day at a time. So we've got Western Illinois coming in this weekend. We're excited to be home for the next 2 weeks. We have one road trip to TSU in the middle there for a midweek, but we're excited to be home and excited. I just take one game at a time.
And we want to go back to that TSU match. Haley Paulino brought out Hank Paulino in that game, got the triple-double in that 5-1 look. What made you go to that change, and how do you look for that to help you in the future?
For sure. I think we have a small roster right now. We've got 14, but I'm operating with 13 because of an injury, which is by far the smallest roster we've ever had. And it's definitely, provided some challenges, but I think depending on our opponent, we can kind of make decisions of where we need to be. And we tried to go with it against SEMO on Friday, and their outsides are some of their strongest players, and we were just unable to capitalize on that with her size up there. So we had to go back to a shared 5-1 and found a little more success with that on Saturday. But right now it's kind of, who's playing their best volleyball and who earns the opportunity. And we're trying to give it to them when they do.
And Western Illinois this weekend at home, what do they bring to the table?
They've got a few good transfers in, and we've just started diving into a little film there. They have a UNLV outside transfer who they've kind of leaned on pretty heavy this year offensively. I think for us, we've got to attack the ball control side of things for them, because I think offensively they can get it done. They do have some aggressive servers. Some different, it's a totally different team than we saw this past weekend, but they're coming off 2 wins on the road, and I'm excited.
And it's going to be a fun weekend, of course, for UT Martin volleyball, and again, Western Illinois at home this weekend. And I guess as you go in, no midweek this week as compared to does that help out a little bit more because you're more well rested, or would you rather just go boom Tuesday and then go into the weekend, or Thursday, Friday?
We try to get our midweeks in conference done a little earlier in the season, because once you hit that stretch, towards the end of conference, you're dealing with quite a bit of wear and tear. So I'm happy to focus on one team this week and not have the midweek plugged in there. Little off topic, but just coming back home with Western Illinois, Dee Pritchett, I know we are all very, very saddened, and our community, what a huge loss for us. And it's just going to be different not having her there in the stands, and that's for every sport. I've never met anyone more supportive of every sport, every program, win or lose, she's there to cheer you on, and has also been just a huge supporter. So
I
sad to hear about that.
Go into that a little more. Like, I grew up in Martin, so I've known Dee my entire life. You moved here when you first started coaching, but she had that magic ability to make every newcomer feel welcome almost immediately.
Absolutely. She gave, on my interview, she gave me my tour of Martin and took me around, and it made you feel right at home. It made me excited to be a part of it, and she had that energy, and especially that just fueled athletics. And I know she was a huge supporter of Westview too, the local, but just a diehard Skyhawk fan, and you rarely went to a sporting event and didn't see Dee there.
Not
and it's
just
gonna be hard.
Games and matches, but events, press conferences, Hall of Fame banquets, welcome back parties, freshman orientation, and my thing is that, and Davis and I have talked about that, at a basketball game we try to get there 2 hours before the game starts just to prepare. Dee was there too.
Yeah, I was gonna say
She was there
in
all
her
the
spot.
time.
That's
yeah,
right.
exactly.
Spot.
Always in
Yeah.
her spot. And she was the biggest Skyhawk fan.
No doubt.
Out of anyone. I mean, such a huge loss for our community and university. But again, our condolences to her, and again, just her support for this university, going to live on forever.
Well, and I don't know how well fans always have an impact on a program. And at every Hall of Fame induction ceremony, I talk about how these players help create a standard and move us to a higher level. Dee did that
No doubt.
as a supporter, as a fan. Well, she was one of us.
Oh,
She
there's
was.
there's no doubt.
Yeah.
And I'm so upset and sad about the loss as, a person, a supporter, a friend. But also on the flip side, just so grateful and thankful for, what she's done for women in the community. Like, she's empowered a lot of women, and I feel she's a supporter of everything, but I felt like she was very supportive of women and leadership roles, and, just it's a great loss, but I'm also thankful for the things she taught me and the relationship we had.
Beautifully said.
The Skyhawk Sports Talk Podcast is brought to you by Weekly Ford Nissan.
Back on the Skyhawk Sports Network, UT Martin football coach Jason Simpson joins us as the Skyhawks defeated Eastern Illinois 28-27 in overtime. We have brought the juice.
Thank you.
We have brought the juice.
You know what? Just like the players and the coaching staff, we all got to do a little better. And so, you know what? Good job.
Hey. There we go.
I watched Ryan's those awesome videos and stuff, and I happened to see it this morning. And you know what? You sounded like the U.S. the 80 hockey team beating the Russians.
Al Michaels.
And I appreciate that.
Eyes.
I appreciate
Do
that.
you believe in miracles?
Miracles in Charleston. That's what happened on Saturday, Coach. Big win against Eastern Illinois on the road. Get the ranked win on the road to 28-27. And also another big thing, you get into the bye week as well.
Yeah.
Just an unbelievable game. First OT win for UTM since 2003. And, Coach, I just have to ask you, 4 turnovers, 11 penalties for 114 yards, and you still won.
Right.
I mean, just your overall thoughts there on that win. It's so impressive and just found another way to get a win.
No, that's I've been doing this a long time, and so you learn to appreciate wins, and you never take them for granted. But no, I am very impressed and pleased with this team's resolve. Okay, they expect to win. They believe they're going to win, and they find ways. And it's happened that all year. Look, the 5 wins we have come in a multitude of different ways. So that's a great characteristic to have. That is a great characteristic to have. Now, and to take nothing away from Eastern Illinois, they had a good football team.
They did.
And you knew that watching it on tape, and you got their best shot. Okay, and now the unforced errors are the things that obviously we're going to talk about as the team gets back together on tomorrow. 11 penalties. You can't. You're not going to win close games like that. Okay, eventually eventually, you hate to say luck. That's not fair to say to the players, but eventually you're going to dig yourself a hole that you can't get out of. Okay. 11 penalties, 4 turnovers, not valuing the football. That's very concerning. Okay, but once again, those are hopefully correctable mistakes. Those are things that we'll have to continue to do better. To go on the road and do that and get a win against a team on homecoming that gave you everything that they had. And you get to the 2-point play and you make the stop. So. Yes, I'm pleased. We're moving to the off week, opportunity to correct some things, but you have to correct those things. We have to. We want to get better, and we want to continue the path that we're trying to where we're trying to get. We've got to play better, and the big thing too is, guys, without a healthy Sam Franklin, those we've got to learn to play through those, not having those big runs. And we hadn't done that the last 2 weeks on offense. So that's something that's concerning that we'll have to address.
You've also talked about resolve. I like that word. And when things are down, you just keep plugging through and believing that you're down 7 when you're on the road. At Eastern Illinois, it might be 10 or 14 just because of where you are. It's a really tough place to play.
No, it is. And like I said, they had a good crowd. Now,
yeah. It was their homecoming.
It was a homecoming, and but there's an empty feeling over there on that sideline, because our fans are so far away. So you have to kind of make sure that, and we're galvanized, and I was very pleased. The kids the players accepted that challenge that we talked about all week, and we talked about this week of the difference between confidence and arrogance. Okay, and confidence being, that you expect a teammate to be there for you, and you do your job and stuff. That's how that is. And arrogance is basically you're just standing around waiting for something good to happen. Mm-hmm. You're expecting it to happen and not being focused on the details. And, and I think they took that to heart and did a good job with that.
And, Sam, you said he didn't play in the second half, but Narkel and Jordan, they came up big, and Narkel really had some big runs there in those final couple drives in the fourth quarter. What did you see in their performances in the run game?
Well, Coach Bannon and I are about to watch the tape here after this, and I watched it yesterday by myself. A lot of movements by their defensive line, a lot of movements and stuff to stop our zone game, or inside and outside zone. So they had a nice plan to take that away, and they've got good players in their front 6 and 7 there. We got to the gap schemes, which helped us, and Narkel made a couple good runs and helped flip the field and stuff, and that kind of helped us. Take nothing away from Kincaid, there's some throws that he's got to start making, but if he doesn't chip in the last 5 weeks, those 50 yards rushing that he's getting, I don't know exactly what we would look like. Now, if he'd make a couple more throws, and he'll tell you that, then he doesn't have to run for 50 yards. Right. So, it's kind of a give and a take deal. But, no, I appreciate Jordan and Narkel, and they competed, but there wasn't as big a holes there this week as there's been in the past.
And this Sam, I guess, having this week off is going to help.
Well, we hope so. We hope so, and I appreciate him. I mean, he still, he had 9 carries for 50-something yards, so that was good to see. But no, he hasn't been himself the last 2 weeks ever since the injury. Because he has an opportunity to be, he can change the game really fast, and so we've got to find some other methods of offense to be explosive without him being healthy.
And blocked field goal by Jared Johnson there at the end of regulation to send the game to overtime. What'd you see leading up to that field goal? Obviously, their kicker had missed a couple earlier in the game, but leading up to that play, what did you see, and then as it happened?
Right. I can't remember. Was that the drive where we had the roughing the quarterback? Did that get
I think it was. I think
it
was.
Well, that wasn't a good call. You go and look on tape. Those kids had took one step, and so I questioned that one. But so give our defense credit that we made it to where at least there was some distance to it. Okay, and then time, they ran it down there. 2 things. One that I liked about this, I felt like that our defense, they had in their mind they're going to get the block. I heard Jared Johnson's interview about, hey, this is the guy we're going over the top, to get the block from. It probably was more of a poor kick than it was a block.
It didn't look good coming off the foot.
No, which is good for us. And they missed 3 field. They hit the upright on a 51-yarder, and then he missed 2. And I forgot we missed 1. I didn't realize that. Forgot all about that. But I do like the mindset that when we went out there and we took the time out, and there was a lot of positive thinking, and somebody was going to get their hand up. And, that's, like I said, that goes back to the resolve, and then you got a break that didn't come off his foot good.
And 4 sacks for your defense. Dalen had 2 and then 4 tackles for a loss. The front 7 made it tough on only 32 rushing yards for them, which was really, really good.
No, it is. I mean, that's, we've done a good job against the run this year. And, of course, you don't want to give up 300-something yards, passing, okay? But there is give and take, to that, okay? What I mean by that is, the frustrating part, just got through watching the tape with Coach Butcher, we give up a touchdown pass on 3rd and 9 and cover 2, okay, to the single receiver, and one of our most cerebral players doesn't get over the top of that, and they throw in the corner of the end zone, nobody within 5 yards around him. So it's mistakes like that in crucial games to where, it can be so tough to play defense. You can play 55 good plays and then, have a busted assignment, and they capitalize on it. So, yes, I'm proud of us, stopping the run, because, that makes you one-dimensional. But, we played a lot of man coverage in this game, and they found us and made some plays. And then, but the cover 2, you got to get them to a field goal right there. You can't give 7 points up going forward.
And the defense for Eastern Illinois, they came as advertised, a very good group that you all faced. What were the adjustments made at halftime to drive on them, get points? I mean, Kincaid came up big down the stretch. He had Marlon, Zoe, Trevante. That receiving core made some big catches there to get some of those long drives into the end zone.
I think it was a deal. I just made a decision, hey, we're not running the ball very good. And they're geared up to stop this run, even though they wasn't loading the box up, but all the different movements and stuff, which can slow down the pass rush on first and second down. So, became a more aggressive play caller in that the first drive of that second half and got those receivers involved. And to their credit, Kincaid's credit, he made some plays and nice throwing catches and that kind of jump-started us a little bit, and got the game back tied. And, we'll have to continue to do that. Now, there's especially with Sam out, right? I mean, those big runs wasn't there. So that was a very good drive. I was very proud of that for Kincaid. You play action on first down, and you don't get it now. Now you're down to those, second longs. And like I said, they did a nice job pressuring our quarterback, and they had 2 sacks as well.
And you enter overtime in this game. You get the ball first. Great play from Kincaid to Max. Eastern Illinois, they actually shifted a lot of their players over to that left side, and that opened up Max in the flat, who finished with 2 touchdowns. I mean, he really came up big on Saturday.
No, he did. And what I was proud of that is we didn't even practice that play this week. That was something we had weeks ago.
Wow.
So one, remember a big play in the game was we had the good run on first down. But then we ran the same play, a version of the same play again, and they cut our puller. It may have been Josiah, actually, I saw in here. He's pulling to run the gap scheme play, the counter, and their defensive end dropped and cut. And you can't do that. It's illegal. Okay, it's 15-yard penalty, so that gave us half the distance to the goal. All right, so now I think it's 1st and 10 there, and we're in our 12 personnel, 2 tight end set. And so Kincaid and Max are over there on the sideline, and I said, hey, let's go with this. Because it was a safe run, and if you pull it, you got Max in the flat or Kincaid running it. And luckily they executed well, and, nice job flipping it out there. And you could see before the snap the defensive end was really squeezing down to stop the run. And, got too nosy, and the kids executed well.
And Eastern Illinois, that next possession, they go on to score, get down by 1 point. They elect to go for 2. What were your thoughts whenever they decided to leave the offense on the field?
I don't, you're like, well, we're going to win or lose right here, right? They're, because you're thinking through, okay, the next overtime, as soon as they scored, which disappointing, man coverage, and they make the play. And so before that, right, we got to stop, I think, on first down or something. And, you're like, okay. But because they won the coin toss, right, they've got 4 plays. Okay, that's the advantage, right, of when you win the coin toss and you make the opponent go. But they've got 4 downs to decide what they're going to do. Well, in my mind, I'm going through, okay, all right, if next overtime, you've got to go for 2. And then if there's another one, right, then it's just all 2-point plays. Do we have enough on our call sheet, All right, so when they decide they're going for 2, you're like, well, forget that. It's either, it's live or die right here. And, we hadn't used our timeout. You get 1 timeout per turnover or per overtime. And, you see them, and I think T.J. Jefferson or one of the coaches said, hey, we got 2 quarterbacks in the game. Okay, so the smart thing to do is, okay, show us the formation. All right, we take a timeout. Butch gets with the defense and says, okay, we don't know what play's coming, but there's 2. If they come back out again, 2 quarterbacks. So there's going to be some type of double handoff, okay, and you don't know what's coming with that, all right. But by us allowing them to do that, now they can change the play and go with another play. Oh, they burnt their timeout, so let's do this. But they didn't. They came back out in the same set. And the kids played it well, and Doc got some pressure, and, Carson was in good position. So worked out to our advantage and, got out there with a win.
I think their decision to go for 2 was a compliment to you.
Well, either that or, hey, we got them on the ropes right here. But you know what? Like, I would have kept my personal, with our football team, I would have kept playing it.
Because you thought you could win in the next overtime.
Right. Eventually you say that our kicker's going to make it, or maybe they were concerned about, that. He missed 3 on the day, right? So maybe that had something to do with it. But I think it was more, hey, we've got them at home. 1 play to win the game, okay, 2.5 yards, to win the game at home. By the book, that's what you're supposed to do. So I don't blame them.
And 5 straight wins for your team. Again, all really in different ways.
Yeah.
What is sticking out to you about this 2023 team?
The resolve, okay, though, and the kids that run this team are our offensive and defensive line. and that's a good thing. For years we've always talked about big men lead the way. Well, it's not only big men lead the way, but when your big men have a sense of confidence about themselves and competitive spirit, you can turn that into a very good team. Okay, the offensive line doesn't talk a whole lot. Josiah and Gavin and Vance and Lamar and Drake. Okay, but they compete. They like playing football and they like each other and they take a lot of pride. They're not just so tired. Oh, the game's when will this game be over? No, they compete. Okay, and then the defensive line, it just goes. I can't compliment enough. I was talking to some different coaches this morning. Our defensive line, we've done a great job recruiting, a great job developing, and the kids have done a great job of competing. We've got a lot of players there, a lot of depth. Okay, I bet there was probably 9 or so that played in the game, and you could argue that maybe some younger guys could have played some more. Perk, Burton, those guys, Toby Camp, they're making some good plays. Those kids, watch them on the sideline. Okay, they stand beside me and they're like, go for it, or good call, or whatever. They're not over there just sitting on the bench, tired, and you feel like you got to drag them out there, to go and play some more. No, they have like the offensive defensive line, to their credit, they have kind of like skill guys mentality. Mm-hmm. All right, they're aware. They know how much time's left on the clock. They know the tempo of the game. They know what we're doing good and what we're struggling on, and that resonates through the whole football team. So that's the things that we're doing well right now.
UT Martin heads into the bye week, going to get well rested before homecoming matchup against Charleston Southern. But, Coach, this bye week really couldn't have come at a better time. Yeah. What's going on during this week just for you all, practice-wise and rest-wise?
Right. Well, the kids were off yesterday and today, okay, well-deserved, and they'll be off again Friday, Saturday, and Sunday at the end of this week. And we'll practice Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. 7 or 8 of our coaches are out on the road recruiting this week. All right, things we got to get done for the years to come. But right now, myself and the coordinators are going through and pouring over the statistics of and statistics don't always tell the truth. Okay, every game has its own life. Sometimes you get a big lead and you're just kind of holding things together to get through the game. All right, but some of the statistics do tell the truth about who you are and what you're good at and things you need to improve on. So we're really kind of going through those, saying, okay, for this next 5 games, okay, what do we need to work on this week and next week, okay?
And you got a good sample size now.
No, yeah, you got 6 games, and you can say, well, take the Georgia game out of it, okay, and go through these 5. And so that's what we're doing there, analyze it. One of the things that you see is that right now our penalties are up after 11 this week and whatever it was last week, okay? We're 71 yards a game. A lot of them are coming on special teams, okay? So we've got to be more disciplined there. Where are we? Who's touching the ball enough for us on offense? Who's busting too many coverages on defense? Is there some other kids we need to be playing and stuff? So you're kind of really breaking down your football team and and treating this as 2 seasons as you go into these last 5 games. So and I like this. At the end of the game the other day, a guy that didn't say a whole lot. We talked about the plan for this week. Jay Rogers, said, "Coach, can I say something?" Yeah, Jay, go ahead. And he tells the team, "Hey, this week we're not just, this isn't just an off week. We're using Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday to improve some things. So make sure y'all come to practice, ready to go. Now we want to get our rest, but there's still, you can shorten practices and get better on some things. So once again, being player-led and not coach-led gives you an opportunity to get better. And I'm proud of the kids, and that's what I expect to happen this week.
So 6 weeks into the season, what are some things for you that have surprised you about this team, and also what are some things to improve on?
Surprise me would I don't know if anything surprised me. Think guys that you hoped would play well have done that. Guys that you had hoped would develop into leaders have done that. So those are good things. Things that I spend most of my time on. Here's some things we got to get better at. And there's some things that we've got to throw and catch better. I've got to put Kincaid in opportunities that he feels comfortable, and then he's got to execute. The one, we've got to find some other offense besides Sam Franklin, consistent offense. Special teams, cut the penalties down. We've got to make some more field goals. I think we're only 4 of 6 or 3 of 6. All right. Against us, teams are 4 of 10 on field goals.
That's some defense right there.
Yeah, I didn't even see that in the report.
But that obviously close to games. That helps you. We've got to play better pass defense. Okay, we hang our hat on stopping the run. Okay, so the pass is coming. All right, and you're going to give up some, but you can't bust a coverage and give up an easy one.
Give up 80, give up 70.
Like the one J Mike gave up there in the overtime. I mean, that's a pretty contested catch, right? He's right there. The good throw, good catch. I can live with those. We went man coverage, we rolled the dice, calculated risk. But the one on the cover 2, that's the 3rd time we've done that this year. We've let a guy stand in the end zone and catch it without the safety getting over the top. That's the things we can't let happen. So, those are things we'll continue to improve on. Looking forward to homecoming. Looking forward to, Chris knows this. It's my favorite game of the year here. I think we do a great job with that. We've got great tradition. I don't know much about Charleston Southern yet. Hadn't watched them on tape. Just they're coming off an open week, so be an opponent we've never played before. But we're at home, and we'll treat it like got to go 1-0, and then every week will be a sprint going forward.
And it's been a fun season so far for UT Martin. We brought the juice today. We have brought the juice today. It has been a very fun episode. We have one more final segment. But, Coach, thanks so much for joining us.
Hey, and you didn't just dwell on bad things. You relished in the win.
See, there we go.
I like this maturity, Chris, that he's showing. I'm very impressed.
He's growing. That's right.
If I quit this season, I still be the greatest.
The Skyhawk Sports Talk Podcast is brought to you by Weekly Ford Nissan.
Coach Henderson from cross country. Also, the Wilson kiddos have joined us.
Callie and Cam.
Hey. There we go. Yeah. There we go. All right. Final question for us here today. If you could have one celebrity in attendance at your sporting event, who would it be? Because Taylor Swift has now taken over the NFL, apparently.
Yeah. She would pick Taylor Swift.
Okay, they would pick Taylor Swift?
She would pick JoJo Siwa.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Did I say Taylor Swift?
Taylor Swift. There it is.
There we go.
There we go.
Yeah.
There we go. Okay, one celebrity at your sporting event. Who would it be? I guess we'll start with you.
Don't start with me. I got to think about it.
You looked at it. You
I got to
cheated.
think about it.
I'll go.
Okay, Coach Wilson's got us.
Probably pretty cliche, but I'd go Denzel Washington.
Oh,
and
okay.
I'd probably try to get him in the locker room for the pregame speech.
Yeah, that'd be a great pregame speech.
Yes.
Fire,
No doubt.
Denzel Washington coming.
Now, he gave one of the
remember
greatest
Titan style.
commencement speeches I've ever heard, too. Go check that one out. Yes. Yeah, Austin.
I'm going to take a little bit different route. I'm going to go Carrie Underwood.
Okay.
Here's why, though. Okay, we're playing with 2 or 3 other teams. I need something to distract those other guys.
Yes, okay.
So I'm going to go Carrie Underwood. Now, it may backfire. They may distract my guys, too, but, we're going to take that risk.
Okay.
So I'm going Carrie Underwood mainly because I just want an autograph.
Fair.
Okay, that's fair enough. That's fair enough.
That's still
Come on,
tough.
we gave you a break there. We get to let both them answer. The kiddos answered. I mean, come on.
How about you?
Okay. All right, I'll
Can you
answer.
commentate a whole track meet?
Can I commentate a whole track meet?
Whole track meet.
Oh, absolutely not.
He can
Probably
do
not.
anything.
No,
Most
no.
definitely.
Oh, goodness. One celebrity in attendance.
Of all the celebrities in the world, she picks you.
I picked Davis.
Picks you. That's pretty good,
I picked
Davis.
Davis. I think that's nice.
Oh, you would want me in attendance? I
Yes.
thought you were saying me go.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'm so honored. Holy
Carrie
cow.
Underwood,
This is
Taylor
incredible.
Swift, Denzel, Davis.
David, I mean,
I
it
think
is such
Davis.
we're A-list celebrities there.
You know?
I tell you what. Chris, who you got?
Dead or alive? I guess we want them alive, don't
Yeah,
we?
probably alive.
Yeah. I'll go with Denzel. I like Denzel.
Oh, the same
Who doesn't love
answer.
Denzel?
Oh, no, you gotta pick
Who
different.
doesn't love
Can't go bad with Denzel.
You gotta pick different.
No, I'm going
Come
Denzel.
on. Okay. Hey, listen, it'd be nice if Kelsey Ballerini was in attendance for a UT Martin sporting event. That's all I'm gonna say. That's all I'm gonna say. Well, it's been a fun time here on the Skyhawk Sports Network, here on Skyhawk Sports Talk. Thanks to all our coaches for joining us. Chris, any final words before we sign off?
Great day to be a Skyhawk.
Hey, do the kiddos? Hey, let's hear from the kiddos. Go Skyhawks. Go Skyhawks. There we go. Go Skyhawks. Thank you all so much for tuning in with us. We greatly appreciate it. Go Skyhawks. It's going to be a fun week.